Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing our breakdown of Mafia the Old Country. If you haven't already, make sure to drop a like on this video. It really helps support the channel. And if you are enjoying these story explained episodes, don't forget to subscribe. We are aiming for 50 subscribers and every single one counts. Now without further delay, let's dive right into the next chapter of Enzo's story. After his daring escape from the mines, Enzo finds himself at an abandoned farmhouse. He believes, at least for a moment, that he's safe. But that illusion doesn't last long. The Sporados have tracked him down. They enter the barn, cornering him. Enzo tries to run, but he's pinned down. Just as one of them is about to kill him, a gunshot rings out.
You died in that rubble, huh?
What are you doing here, Damiano? Answer me.
Don't Turisi, this is Caruso.
I asked you a question.
The boy owes a debt. We tracked him in the dark. He must have crossed over. We mean no disrespect. We'll take him. Be on our way.
The boy goes nowhere with you.
That's when a figure enters the story, Don Torrisi. He arrives with his men and directly confronts El Merlo, accusing him of crossing into his territory. This, he says, is a breach of agreement between the two brotherhoods. With firm authority, Don Torrisi forces the Sporados to leave. He then declares that Enzo is under his protection. Here we are introduced to Luca, Don Torrisi's right-hand man and most trusted associate. Luca is impressed by the scar Enzo left on Merlo's face, a mark of defiance that did not go unnoticed. Don Torrisi's land stretched as far as the eye can see. His main legitimate business is wine production, and everything around that estate flows from this industry. Luca brings Enzo to his new quarters. From now on, Enzo will work for Don Torrisi, beginning with simple household tasks. For Enzo, even this feels like a blessing. Finally, a place to sleep in peace. But his peace doesn't last long. Soon after, Enzo is greeted by Cesar, Don Torrisi's nephew. Cesar instructs him to change out of his filthy mining rags and into something more presentable. Enzo's first official day of work begins. His tasks are straightforward: moving crates of wine onto the truck, meeting Valentina, Luca's wife, and cleaning out the horse stables. But it's in those stables that Enzo meets someone who will change the course of his story, Isabella. Isabella is kind and unexpectedly warm towards him, even as he is knee-deep in horse manure. She offers him a freshly picked apple. Embarrassed by his state, Enzo declines. But Isabella playfully takes a bite herself and walks off. Their connection is instant, even if unspoken. That evening, Enzo attends a family celebration. After cleaning himself up, he joins the other workers for dinner. Hungry from the day, he devours his food, only to be joined by Luca, who raises a toast with him over a glass of homemade wine. From across the room, Enzo notices a bitter-looking man watching him. His name is Tino, a long-time advisor to Don Torrisi. He keeps a close eye on the newcomer. This celebration is for Isabella, her name day. She descends into gathering as the guest of honor. Once again, Enzo and Isabella lock eyes. The spark between them is undeniable. Life continues on the estate. Enzo works alongside Luca, making deliveries of wine across Sicily. Along the way, Luca shares stories of his past, how his father was killed by bandits and how Don Torrisi took him in. Soon they arrive in a town for a major event, a horse race. Don Torrisi has entered his horse, but there is a problem. The jockey is in no condition to compete, hungover and vomiting into a bucket. To save the family's honor, Enzo steps forward. He volunteers to ride in the race. At first his family is hesitant, but eventually they allow it. Don Torresi warns him sternly. While riding his horse, Enzo represents the Don's name and reputation. The race begins, and against all odds, Enzo wins. The family celebrates, ecstatic at his victory. But not everyone is pleased. Tino quickly reminds Enzo of his place, handing him a crate of wine to continue his deliveries. During these deliveries, Enzo receives unexpected company, Isabella. From the beginning, it's clear that she's taken interest in him. Together, they make their rounds, but their journey is interrupted when they are confronted by several Sporados. Among them is a familiar face from the mine. A fight breaks out, knives are drawn, but Enzo defends Isabella, ultimately defeating his opponent. Luca arrives on the scene, pulling Isabella away and warning her not to mention this to her father. He then turns to Enzo with a grave warning. Being alone with Isabella is dangerous. Rumors can spread, stories can be twisted, and such things could cost Enzo dearly. For his own sake, this cannot happen again. Later that evening, Enzo receives a note from Isabella thanking him for protecting her. Despite Luca's warning, their bond continues to grow. Isabella arranges Enzo to meet in the garden before his next meeting with Luca. The two flirt openly now, their chemistry undeniable, but they are caught by Tino, who immediately sends Isabella back inside and keeps a watchful eye on Enzo. At the stable, Luca shares his new plan for Enzo. Impressed by his courage and loyalty, Luca decides to give him more responsibility. Together, they'll accompany Don's men on rent collection rounds. For Enzo, this is the first true glimpse into the darker side of the Brotherhood. Some tenants pay willingly, while others require intimidation. Enzo now begins to understand the balance of business and fear that sustains Don Torresi's power. Time passes. A year goes by, and Enzo is now fully embedded within Don Torresi's world. He's even become close friends with Sisa. Yet Sisa still teases him about women, unaware that Enzo's affection lies with his own cousin, Isabella. The Don has larger ambitions. He arranges a meeting with Baron Fonatello, a man who controls much of Sicily, and his son Gennaro. The plan is simple: marry Isabella to Gennaro, forging an alliance between the two families. Isabella, however, wants no part of this. Enzo and Sisa are tasked with accompanying Isabella and Gennaro to the old ruins. Isabella refuses to ride with Gennaro, takes her horse instead, riding alongside Enzo. The two take the long road, enjoying each other's company, even capturing the moment with Isabella's camera. Their bond is stronger than ever, but it's also dangerous. Isabella knows her father won't allow her to refuse Gennaro, not when business and power are on the line. At the ruins, Enzo and Sisa take Gennaro's car for a spin, racing through the area. The laughter is cut short when they hear a scream. At first they dismiss it, but then they hear a gunshot. They rush back only to discover the unthinkable. Isabella and Gennaro have been captured. And that's where we leave off in this chapter of Mafia: The Old Country. Enzo's life has transformed from a miner fighting to survive to a trusted member of Don Torresi's family, all while falling deeper into the forbidden love with Isabella. But now, with Isabella and Gennaro captured, the stakes have never been higher. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and help us to reach our first 50 subscribers. More episodes are on the way, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.